gang, I'm Luke and welcome to the 70th episode of Down from the Attic. And with it being the 70th episode, I think I should look at a game that I really enjoy playing. And I've had this game not too long, but it's already become one of my family's firm favourites. We're looking at Bermuda Triangle. Let's take a look at this thing.
First off, box art, and this is actually some really fantastic art here. It's pretty nicely painted. Contents, and yep, Milton Bradley liked this art too. They actually include a print for your wall. What's included is the board, a deck of cards, 16 little plastic ships with a magnet on the top, a spinner, the rules, and this plastic storm piece. Contents, the board and the pieces look a little bland and drab. They're well made as most Milton Bradley games are, but a little on the drab side, but trust me, this game is absolutely worth getting past all that. Setup, everyone places one of their 4 ships into one of the 4 harbours on the board. Sort out the little cards into their types, bananas, oil, timber, sugar and home port, and give each pile a shuffle. The storm goes on the very centre point of the board, and we're ready to start playing. The aim of the game is to follow the trade routes from one port to another and pick up goods. The first person to have $350,000 of trade is the winner. But the storm in the Bermuda Triangle may spin, nudge and swallow your ship up, never to be seen again. Will you survive? Roll to see who goes first and then roll to see how far you can move. You can opt to pick any one of your 4 ships to move, and you'll notice there are certain routes that are longer than others. So going from sugar to bananas, you'll collect a banana card really quickly, but the worth of this route is far less than others. The 2 longest routes are the route to sugar and the route to oil, oil being the most valuable commodity in the game. However, these routes lead you into the path of the storm, and you better pray that it doesn't hit you. Once everyone has had a chance to move their ship, it's on to moving the storm. The storm piece is comprised of 2 pieces, the crosshair and the storm itself. The crosshair has a little notch in it to indicate north, and the storm sits on top of this and can rotate around. On the board, you'll notice there's a grid formation over the centre of the board of all these little black dots. Spin the spinner and it will tell you what position the storm will rotate to, which direction it's going to move, and how far it will move. And let me tell you something, when this thing is creeping dangerously close to your ship, it gets intense. The storm may move over certain routes, and if it's blocking that route, you can't continue along it. You have to wait for it to move away, all the while this being a threat to your ships. What makes the storm such a threat is that on the underside of the storm piece, it has little magnets, and if it passes over your ships, it gets swallowed up by the storm, never to be seen again. So I can tell what you're thinking already. Well, the ocean is dangerous with a storm, sure, so the harbours must be safe. Wrong. A storm can move over a harbour and sweep up all the boats there. It's devastating. There's truly no safe spaces on this board, and with 4 boats, it's a real battle to keep all 4 of your boats protected and safe. The number of boats allowed in a harbour changes depending on how many people are playing, but you can't have more than 2 of your own ships in a harbour at any time. And if a harbour is full, well, you can't dock there and you can't get your trade. And you better believe that people will do this tactically, leaving you in the ocean to deal with the storm. The storm moving around the board will be a constant threat, and sometimes you'll have the storm move over your ship, but only partially. If the storm obscures even a part of your ship, you can't move it. You've got to hope that the storm moves away without scooping it up. But picking up your boat isn't the only way the storm can mess with your boats. Boats that are already captured underneath the storm can push and shunt others around the board, and your poor boat might end up miles away from where you wanted it to be. When it's free of the storm, you just move it to the nearest available space. This is an inconvenience, but it's far better than losing the ship entirely. Players can also halt each other's process by sending an opponent back to the harbour. If you can land on someone's boat by an exact move, you send them back to the last harbour. And if that harbour's full, it goes back to the harbour before that. This is a really cruel move, but a fun one. Doing this can also force your opponent's boats closer to the storm in some cases. I really like this aspect of the game. If a player spins north, south, east or west, the storm moves the whole length of that direction, and any caught ships are taken from the underside of the storm and put back in the box. This can be absolutely devastating. The storm can move across the board in one fell swoop and put you really in harm's way. Each harbour has a set amount of stock, and once a particular harbour is out of stock, visiting it will get you nothing. Nothing at all. You'll need to sail further on to get more trade, and again, this puts you at risk. It's all too easy to focus on particular routes and neglect others in this game. Going for safer routes far away from the storm or longer routes to net larger amounts of trade, but this will lead to ships bunching together near a particular harbour. You are almost encouraged to risk your boats going into dangerous waters to keep the harbours free to get home. Hanging around the harbour entrance waiting for a space to come available, you know some opponent will land on you and send you all the way back. It's really best to keep moving in this game as much as you're able to. The first player to reach $350,000 is the winner.
So, final thoughts? Bermuda Triangle is one of those games that, pardon the pun here, was under my radar for quite some time. I'd seen photographs of it and foolishly binned it off as being some cheap game from the 1970s. And I've really got to thank Norm from the Board Game Museum for putting me on to getting this. This game is fantastic, it really is a lot of fun. That storm mechanic is so simple and very complex as well, like you're hoping that it blows onto your opponents and sweeps up their ships, but you're wanting it to keep routes open and stay away from your own ships. The idea with the harbour and being able to only go in there if there's a certain number of ships there, and being able to send back your opponents as well. There's a nice little bit of vindictiveness about this game, and you're constantly altering your strategy. If a lane gets blocked off, you're going to have to try and move another ship and hope that that ship there stays safe. It's truly a wonderful game. This game I picked up really cheap as well, so yeah, this is a hidden gem. You have to play this game, it's a lot of fun. I just want to apologise for the lack of videos for this last month. I know November I've had no videos out, and that's because my personal life has been pretty busy. I've actually been house hunting, so not got anything quite yet. I had a house fall through, which is a bit of a shame. It had a beautiful attic space, but the thing is, this attic is probably not going to be my attic for much longer, but I am looking for a nice new attic. Well, thank you very much for sticking with me for 70 episodes. As always, I'm Luke. Thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. If you like what I'm doing here on Down From The Attic, please consider subscribing. Comments are always welcome, and I'll see you on the next one.